It's me again. I'm back this time with glasses, and I know it's been a really long time, and I'm sorry for that, but you know, life gets in the way of great things, like comic books. Just ask the guys at the store I buy my comics from, they'll tell you I've been kind of absentee for them too. But anyway, I am back, and I have today 3 comics. I've got an Invincible Iron Man and 2 Deadpool here for you, and I'm going to start with the Iron Man because I always start with Iron Man. But, alright, this is Invincible Iron Man, number 33. And let's start with the basics, the writing on this. I think the only thing that's probably missing from the writing is it's not as witty as it used to be. I used to feel like from Matt Fraction I got a really, sometimes a little odd, but I got a lot of humor, a lot of like quips and random wit. I'm not seeing that as much, and the characters are in different circumstances, but still, that's one thing I kind of miss. I don't think I've laughed at all reading an Iron Man in a long time, which is part of reading comics. You know, it's not just about suspense and drama and shooting things with big guns because we have giant iron suits. You know, there's also the factor where we want to laugh at it. You know, we want to have a good time. Okay, so next thing I guess would be the art. Artists haven't changed. I still love the art. I love the color. It's got this kind of sheen to it. There's a lot of really clear pencil lines that you see with this artist combo. You know, they don't just ink it so thoroughly. You still kind of see those lines from the pencil, which is distinctive, and I love that. I have 5 stars out of 5 on the art. I have nothing but good things to say about it. For the story itself, I'd say it's picking up. It's getting more interesting. The last few issues of Iron Man, I felt a little, I don't want to say bored, but bored, waiting for Tony to go back to being a badass and waiting for, you know, stuff to start happening again, you know, because I picked up reading it in a really good place for Iron Man. There was a lot going on. It was easy to follow, but really intense, and I feel like this at some points gets a little like convoluted with just like the back and forth, the corporate stuff. And there's a lot of that, and that's an aspect of Tony Stark, but it's kind of, eventually you're like, I will take economics if I want to hear you talk about business, okay? I would really like to see you go fight some bad guys and, you know, do Iron Man things besides just run companies, because as interesting as companies can be and all that stuff is, it's not really why I read comic books. I mean, I don't think that's why anybody reads comic books. That's the one thing that's been bugging me, and they're kind of, I feel like, moving toward a greater conclusion. Zeke's back. Stain. So that should get exciting. I think they're insinuating, and this is one issue I guess I'd say that I have with the writing, is that I say insinuating because I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm confused as a reader. But I think they're insinuating that the Mandarin is, what's-her-face, Sasha Hammer. I think they're insinuating that the Mandarin is actually her father, not Justin Hammer, which makes me like, what? But, what? I don't have anything to say, but what? 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 Okay, wherever this goes, I'm sure it will be exciting. I'm not going to say you can't go wrong with the Mandarin, because you can, but it's difficult. It's hard to bring in a villain like the Mandarin and do bad things. So this is probably, I would say, looking up. For an individual comic, I would say that it earns probably a 4 out of 5 stars. 3.5, probably, right about there. But yeah, that is Invincible Iron Man, number 33. Which brings us to Deadpool. We're seeing good things in the world of Deadpool. I laughed so hard reading that. So hard. And I haven't laughed at Deadpool in a while, which is saying something. I mean, I read Deadpool to laugh. I read Deadpool to laugh when he kills people and when he blows things up and at things that I probably really shouldn't be laughing at. Too many Quentin Tarantino movies maybe behind that, but yeah, I read Deadpool to laugh, usually when he's blowing things up. And he's blowing things up in this, like with fireworks and everything. It's great, like he's got this whole plan, and then He's flirting with the Black Widow, and watching Deadpool flirt is usually pretty funny, entertaining. Sometimes it's a little painful. It's kind of like, oh God, wait, what are you doing? Just stop right where you are. But it was entertaining here, and I like that. I thought, and this is Deadpool number 29, for the record. I think I just got carried away and forgot to tell you that. But yeah, it's definitely entertaining. More entertaining than I've seen in quite a while. As far as the art, Black Widow's boobs are too big. They're like the wrong shape, but that's comics. That is probably my only issue with the art, is they've gone from, you know, really curvy to like, that isn't a breast, that's like a basketball, you know. That's my only issue with the art on this, is maybe a little bit of excess here and there, but again, that is the way of comics. It's something we encounter all the time. And I think generally I'm really happy with the art here. I think I'll still always be more of a fan of when Medina was working on Deadpool. I really liked that. I thought that was probably my favorite. But I am still happy with this, and I think it's good. It's stylized in this Barberi, I believe is how you pronounce his name, you know, and he has his own style, and it's unique. And I do have my issues with it that you'll see in my last video. But it's grown on me, and I like it, and that is why I was sorry. Oh, and by the way, this is going to get, I think, 4.5 out of 5. But anyway, that stylization issue brings me to Deadpool number 30, which is titled Curse of the Mutants over here on the side, so it must be part of some bigger phenomenon that's going to happen in the Marvel world. But they changed artists. Again, pencilers. They changed again. I don't know what's with this series. I don't know why they can't keep a consistent penciler. Like, this Iron Man that I've been reading, it's been the same two dudes writing in pencils for the whole, like, what is it, like 2-year duration of the comic. But for whatever reason, Deadpool cannot seem to, like, keep his pencilers straight. You know what? Whatever. My probably biggest issue with this artist is there's a little bit of over muscle, I guess, but again, comics, excess, we're used to it. In most cases, I actually say that Deadpool's structure is not totally unreasonable. Yeah, he looks like he spends all his time working out, but I mean, a guy who spent all his time working out would actually be shaped like this, so, you know, I'm kind of okay with it. The only thing I don't like is his mask. It's the type that fits more, like, closely around the nose, and you can see, like, the pulls in the fabric all over the face to show his expressions more, which has its merits because it tells us a little more about what he's actually doing, you know, under the mask, like what his expression is. But I always really liked the minimalist approach of most of his expression being shown through his eyes and through his internal dialogue instead of just his face, you know, through the mask. I think it makes the mask look less chic also, and I thought also with the you know, the minimalist approach with just the eyes becoming slits or really round or whatever, I thought it made him look more like a badass. And Deadpool is a badass, so, you know, it works. Other artwork issues, I know I babble a little bit about overboobage about Black Widow and that Iron Man, but when it comes to overboobage, I think this comic right here has got it, like, down to a science. There's this woman, and she's supposed to be a doctor, but she's got enough cleavage to rival the Grand Canyon. I kid you not, and sorry if you just heard a weird noise, that was my cell phone. But I'm serious, like, Grand Canyon cleavage, and she's supposed to be a doctor, she's supposed to be a professional woman, but she's got her shirt, it's a button down, unbuttoned to, like, here. And you can see the lace on the edges of her bra, like where both of the cups meet, through her shirt. It's like, what professional woman would ever dress like that? I know some of my male comic reading counterparts really appreciate, you know, the overboobage and the slutty the slutty look with the nice lingerie. I mean, I'm not going to call it slutty lingerie. I mean, it's lingerie. It's supposed to look like that. But the slut look kind of comes from the just how low it is. And I don't like to use the word slut. It's kind of demeaning, but that's kind of what she looks like. I mean, she looks like not really like a doctor, but more like a stripper who's dressed as a doctor as part of her act. Not pretty. And I think that crosses the line of just being a little excessive. I mean, because it's almost every panel where you see this part of her body, you also see like all this bra lace and lingerie peeking, and again the Grand Canyon cleavage and boobs the size of the moon. I think actually this might be where I draw that line. That, because again, I have said that comics are kind of in excess when it comes to body styles. We all know that, we all recognize that. But what I think bugs me about this is that while Deadpool's structure is, muscled out but still somewhat within the realms of reality, she is not. None of the women in this are remotely realistic. And not unrealistic in a way that's like, oh, it's comics, it's okay if it's a little out there. Unrealistic as in like, you know what, as a female reader, I'm almost offended. I mean, I don't want to sound like a feminazi, but I'm a chick. I read comics, and I don't read them because they're sexy muscled out guys. Are there sexy muscled out guys? Yes, but is that why I read them? No. I read them because they're awesome. And I'll admit I'm kind of a nerd, but they're awesome. That's why I read comic books. Not for what the men look like. So I would trust that my masculine counterparts would have enough dignity to still appreciate the comic without all the women being like, woo, look at me. I mean, we have faces. Look at the face. So I say that's I'm actually going to knock it down a whole star for that. This one gets like a 3. And it wasn't as funny. The writing, I will discuss the writing because it's a more serious topic that probably more of you care about, I'm venturing to say. It involves less of me ranting. But anyway, the writing I thought it wasn't quite as funny as number 39 was. Or, I'm sorry, 29. This is 30, that'd be 29. I didn't find it quite as entertaining. Like, it was funny, and he's fighting vampires, and he's blowing up vampires, which is cool, but it wasn't, I think, as good as its predecessor, its immediate predecessor, but I also think it has potential to go some really, really, really entertaining places. So, I think it looks up. It's looking up, but probably not as good as the last one. And also, with this new penciler, I'm a little bit kind of like, really? So, I'm going to give this one a 3. If excessive boobage and lingerie showing doesn't bother you at all, it's probably more like a 3.5, maybe a 4. I'll give it that. That's a pet peeve of mine. But anyway, that concludes my little impromptu comic book review for today. I'm sorry it was gone so long, and I'm sorry this ran so long because I had so much to review, because I was gone so long. It's all interconnected. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was at least somewhat helpful. I was shouting my opinions to the internet world, and happy reading!